What's up, guys? Derek here, back for another VOD review. And today I got a VOD from the Tacticians Cup number 3. This is obviously the cup that qualifies everybody in the Americas to regionals. This was a stacked first lobby. We are watching Wasianiverson, previous Worlds competitor, and going into this tournament actually number 1 in qualifier points. That means, he did the best across the entire set in tournaments. Sadly, he did not end up making final lobby of this tournament, but this game was a really, really interesting one to watch. I was watching it from another POV, and I was like, you know what? I actually really, really want to VOD review this because I think Wasianiverson made some really, really interesting decisions this game. So, start off with Ash pair plus a Hecarim here. We don't really have items to support some kind of like multi-striker opener, but we certainly have the units to support it. We have the Ash already, Ash 2 now, we have a Jack, so you could think about playing into this. We kind of just need to get to the right spot items-wise. Outside of that, I don't know, we have this Namzi who, that opener is so solid, but yeah, we are going to hold on to this Jax, and as well as the Zoe and Poppy pair. Okay, so first augment here. Pandora's helps on the way, beggars can be choosers. You could, if you really, really wanted to play one cost multi-striker reroll, just rip Pandora's here and play it. You have the Ash 2, you have 2 Jaxes, you have the Hecarim. You have like a pretty good spot to play around that. Your other options are Help Us on the Way and Beggars Can Be Choosers. Help Us on the Way seems really, really, really solid in this comp because you really like support items in this comp. Kassadin, if you end up playing towards some kind of like Kassadin reroll setup, really, really likes Banshees. Even stuff like Locket, Zeke's, Randowins, making your board tankier, especially when you have a lot of units like this that drain tank is really, really solid. And the Beggars is kind of an interesting option, probably not very good here. You only really want it if you're looking for like a specific +1, like augment or some, I don't know, very specific augment, but there's not much we want here. So Wasian is going to default towards Helps on the Way. He rolls in a 1s, 2s, 3, which is another fantastic econ augment, though I do think in our spot, I don't know that we necessarily need the units from it. Our board's pretty good already, without being insane. So I like the Help Us on the Way pickup here from Wasianiverson. And he's also going to pick up the Remover and Reforger, which is nice and easy to level for the Poppy here and play strongest board. It's kind of interesting, actually, that Wasian does decide to level here because he can't really play for he can't play for full win streak. He took Help Is on the Way, so he knows that he's going to lose a streak at some point. This is just a level to save HP, which is kind of interesting. I guess it's also a level to sort of improve his shop odds for finding more 2 cost, 3 costs, getting into those like Kassadins earlier. I mean, hey, now we have a Poppy too. Maybe Wasian's idea is that he can win streak with this board. I would just be surprised because we don't have an item slam and we essentially don't have an augment. So we'll see. We'll see what this early game looks like for Wasian. But I feel like it is going to be hard to 5 streak here. But I guess one of the other things that Wasian did this game that is an oft overlooked thing in TFT is how much he scouted this game. And I think, after contextualizing, especially these first couple of fights that we've played, I think Wasian's idea is he looked at the rest of the lobby and said, you know what, I have an Ash 2. I'm going to have Bastion onto this board. Looking at the rest of the lobby, there are actually a lot of weak boards out there. So maybe his idea is actually that, hey, I can still win streak in this spot. Yeah, I mean, looking at all these boards, I mean, this one could maybe give him a run for his money. But there's a lot of weak boards out there, a lot of boards that are just lacking 2-star units. And yeah, this is genius from Wasian. The second he sees Phoenix's board, who he knows is quite strong, he commits to making the Hodge, which is an okay item. It's not like Biscassin or anything. But Wasian knows from scouting this lobby that he can actually play for a win streak from the spot because it's quite a weak lobby overall. So man, actually, like little things like that, but they can actually completely transform your game. I think so few people from Help Is on the Way would have tried to play into a win streak from here. Cloak Open's also kind of interesting because you could go BT, but then you're double healing. There's QSS, which is a solid slam. You can make this in the moment. You can go into Kassadin later. I feel like the priority on this QSS item is raising and raising every all the time. We could pick this up just to see our opponent is. It is Prestivant, who is also 100 HP. So we'll see if we can end up beating him. I love that that we're making sure to scout the rest of the lobby just to make sure we don't give this away. And yeah, we know we're fighting Prestivant, so let's slam that QSS and hopefully we win this fight. Prestivant also ends up slamming a Gunblade to try to win. I think this is a weird game where Prestivant ended up slamming this Gunblade and playing towards Callista, which is kind of, it's wild because these component anvils, you would not think that, you'd end up having to make a Gunblade, which is kind of a not ideal item in this comp. It's Callista's second best item, but second best after a very, very large gap from Guinsoo's Rage Blade. Also, over there, you can see what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically add like 1 pixel one column of pixels of my closet every single day, and then eventually you'll just see my closet. Okay, like probably not. But in any case, we're fighting into a Tutty here, and this should be a pretty easy win. I mean, there's a Nunu out here, but we have a 2-item Hecarim here. Hecarim, not as broken as he once was, but can still definitely carry the early game. And look at that. I told you I was a doubter when he leveled for it, but in hindsight, this was a beautiful play by Wasian here to play for this win streak. He can use the remover here on the Hecarim. Why not? There's no downside to using it. Oh, actually, no, there is a downside. He has 2 removers, so he's going to opt to not remover. That's why I was like, yeah, why is he not removing? But he has 2 removers because he got 1 off the augment. So there is actually a downside, and so he's not going to remove here because he knows these items will likely stay onto Hecarim here. We also, okay, so a few things here. One, we can make gold. I'm kind of surprised he doesn't make gold and just selling off these other witchcraft units. But I guess his idea is actually to hold on to this Nico pair here because it could potentially be an upgrade onto his board. Wow. Also, he ends up picking up JG components, which it's not really what you want to be slamming. You do have a reforger if you wanted to reforge something like Glove here, I guess, and then you could use Raw. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of tough to make a straight up slam from this spot. So I'm not sure about that. In any case, we're still win streaking. We're fighting another weak board. This was overall a pretty weak lobby. And Wasian took really good advantage of it. All right, second augment here, replication, explosive growth, and trait tracker here. It's not going to be trait tracker. Replication, you could take like bows and go for Gwinsu Last Whisper, I guess, would be like ideal, or you could take like, I don't know. What else would you even want here? Tier and go for even more Hodges? Probably not, but I guess we'll see. I would just prefer solid combat augment here, especially because we're going to get our econ soon. Wow, wait, he actually rerolls that over trait tracker, and he's going to reroll this. So if he rolls into garbage here, he's saying I'm down to take trait tracker, which is crazy, but we are 100 streak. You could theoretically make it work. Combat bandages does look good though, and is a lot less risky than trait tracker, so I feel like that's going to be the pickup, but we'll see. I mean, it's certainly possible. Okay, yeah, I was gonna say it's certainly possible to get that cash out with Trade Tracker, but seems quite difficult. But I love this board out of Wasian. It's a very non-traditional. Normally, you try to play towards the 5 multi-striker board on 6, but he hasn't had to roll a single time, and he's still streaking here. This is like really nice because think about like a default comp, a default way of playing this comp. If you just play this comp and every time on level 6 you try to roll for the 5 multi-striker board, you would have had to roll a decent amount here. And now look at this, there's the Nico 2, so we can actually play this onto our board. We actually found a huge upgrade, and now, I mean, we actually have good odds of continuing our win streak here with the Nico 2, and it's all because he held on to the Nico. This is a really big call from Wasian because he could have made 10 gold by selling the Nico, but he opted to hold on to it. We are going to fight this Mages player, which scares Wasian a bit, so he ends up slamming the glove onto Hecarim just to try to make sure that he wins this fight, and in all, it looks like he's chilling. There's another big question coming soon here, but let's look at Carousel first. Glove and Rod open here. So, I mean, with a Rod, I feel like you would just have to go towards a Gwinsu and play into Cassidon, and then the glove, I mean, I don't even know what you can make at this point. You already have a Hodge, you already have a QSS. Like, he could take another Hodge and just to have more Hodges, but it's not ideal. All right. Ooh, that was really quick. So let's look back here. Get support item here. Immediately rips the Locket. I mean, this makes sense. Locket is so good in this comp. You're always playing for this 5 frontliner setup, so you're going to get perfect value of the Locket. So I think this makes absolute sense here in Wasian's spot. It's also just such a spike power-wise right now. It's interesting that he's thinking about putting it on the Nico and putting Nico in the middle, and he's also looking at that double Hodge slam. He's not going to make it yet, though. But, okay, one big question for Wasian here is he actually playing a... Oh, that was actually kind of rough here. Yeah, he actually doesn't get the Locket shield onto the Vex. It looks like it's going to be fine. He does slam the double Hodge, though, because he's a bit afraid after flubbing that for a second, but it's fine. The double Hodge makes him pop off. But look at this. He's going fast level 7 multi-strikers because he knows I don't have that many Cassidons. I have 1 Cassidon here. So playing for Cassidon 2 is like kind of a pipe dream in this spot. So why not just stay on this current board, push levels, and then just play around potentially Hecarim 3. We'll see what his final carry ends up being on this board, because right now it's not so obvious. This is definitely a board where normally you sit on 6 and you roll and you try to go for Cassidon 3, you try to go for Kali 3, eventually maybe you find Hecarim 3. But in this spot, it looks like he's just skipping straight past all the Cassidons and saying, you know what, I'm going to either play for Hecarim 3 or I'm just going to play like fast 8, fast 9 version. We are 100 streaking here, and just It's so smart from Wasian to play for a 100 streak this game. Also, that's another Jax. That's a sixth Jax. It's kind of interesting because we're still a bit far from Jax 3, especially because we're, currently level 7, so it's going to be harder to find. But I mean, finding 3 Jaxes on 7 is not impossible. All right. We end up picking up a bunch of rods here. We do have Nashor's Winds if we want it, or red buff, probably not red buff Morello. And look at this. He is going to roll on 7 here. He has made the call that this is going to be like a level 7 reroll version of the board. Probably wants to get Arcana in on this board. Yeah, just going to Arcana the Hecarim for the AD and the DR is really nice. And also we have this extra item, the Locket, which is really nice. He is going to make the Gwynsu's. Is he going to make anything else? The answer is no. Yeah, he's just going to throw Gwynsu's onto Callista here. Pretty happy with that item in this spot, I would say. And yeah, it's just the only thing is when you play for really vertical multi-striker, Gwynsu Callista tends to actually go down in priority just because she has so much attack speed already. All right, this is why I wanted to review this game, because this is an augment that early on in the set was trash garbage. They've buffed and buffed it, and this is one of the few comps where it actually can work. Pandora's Items and Mastering Crown, not great pickups in this spot, so we're going to reroll both, and we're actually going to take anger issues here because Precedent, or not Precedent, but Wasian acknowledges that his board is not that good in this spot. His items really, his board is great actually. His items are not that good in this spot, so he's going to take these Gwynsu's Rage Blades. Obviously, multi-strikers stack this up insanely well, and they do really well with the tankiness, especially also because we have the Locket. The Locket helps, buy us time for us to get those Gwynsu's. That's the big issue for this setup, is how do you actually get all those Gwynsu's scaled up? And the answer is you put a Locket on your front line. So really nice that Wasian ended up picking up this Locket in the early game. It's going to do, huge work for him, and he's 100 streaking, still looking. He's very close to that Jax 3, who at this point is going to be a 0-item Jax 3, but, I've seen worse. And he's also looking for everything else at this point. He's picked up 4 Cassidans. He's looking for everything on 7, which is so wild. And yep, the second he hits this Jax 3, boom, we remove the Gwynsu's off of the Callista, put those onto Jax. It's just perfect because, I mean, yeah, you don't want to have a 0-item Jax 3 sitting on your board. And he's going to do quite well with these Gwynsu's. A bunch of R&MR for him. He's going to be quite the monster. So, hey, we win this fight. Still 100 streaking. 13 streak here. We only have 4 Hecarims and 4 Cassidans at this point, so it's going to be interesting to see what Wasian decides to do. You could maybe even make the call to just push levels, but I think his idea is that if I do that, I'm, playing for like 4th at best. So we'll see. Obviously, the item he takes off Carousel doesn't matter. There's not really a unit that he cares that much about, so just take the highest cost here and maybe try to deny somebody their the item that they want. So we end up getting 2 cost, whatever. There's just Trenchcoat doesn't even seem bad, but he's going to roll past it and end up taking Voidling. Maybe his idea was that Trenchcoat was like too expensive in his spot, and he wanted to potentially either roll for Econ or something cheaper. But yeah, I mean, I was just thinking Suspicious Trenchcoat onto a Shen here. But hey, the Voidling's not bad as well. It's a bunch of extra frontline to once again make sure that these Gwynsu's can buy the time for stuff like this Hecarim and the Jax to pop off. We're fighting a pretty strong board in this Rise. We end up stomping at the end. Hecarim got so low and then just carried through here. So just one more fight to go for the 15 streak. Wasian definitely wants to win this because it's so much gold. I don't think you take all 4s here. Doesn't even hold on to the extra Shens. Bramble Vest isn't amazing. Reroll with 3 costs you have to take, I guess, because it pulls you up these extra Hecarims. But playing down a Comet Charm here feels so rough because we might actually end up losing our streak here. The hope, though, is that you get more out of taking this charm than you would out of keeping your streak, potentially. I'm not sure, though. I mean, honestly, yeah, we end up fighting Stellar Minhee here, who honestly has one of the weaker boards in this lobby. This is actually super high roll to fight this person when we had like Precedent potentially in our pool, who had a much better board. Also, can we take this Shen out of Planner if we're not going to play for Shen 3? I mean, you certainly shouldn't play for Shen 3 in our spot here, but can we please do it? Smart by Wasian to remove that Jax at the last second there, just in case we end up getting a Callista 2 on the roll down. She will probably be better than Jax as an item holder of these, but we are level 7, so if we don't hit it, then it's fine. We just put the items right back on Jax, and obviously we got the free item. Components don't matter here, of course. We're just going to get 2 Gwynsu's from these. Takes the 3-star 1-cost in Remover, which is interesting. Just for a Remover, and also, I mean, for the super off chance it ends up being Ashe, I mean, I guess it's possible. Yeah, he's going to put these items back on a Jax here, and then I imagine the last one is just going to go onto Callista. Well, yeah, he actually throws it on the Ashe here. The idea is we still have these removers, so we're going to be fine removers-wise. And hey, maybe he actually thinks Ashe 2 is stronger than Callista 1, which is I don't know. I could maybe see it. Also, we're a 3 off Ash 3, so there's also the possibility of hitting that. But sadly, we finally lose a fight. This is certainly where our board is going to have fallen off pretty hard. Oh, also, oh, that was kind of unfortunate. I think he accidentally, I'm not sure when that happened, but he accidentally shifted Arcana over to Tom Kench. I didn't even notice it. Oh my God. Look at that. Look at that. Oh my God. I mean, obviously you can see it here, but look at this. He gets the assassin charm, waits until the last second, scouts Phoenix's board. Phoenix is really, really strong, sees the rise swap at the last second, grabs the charm and swaps the Jax to the right side, and it hops on rise. That was a crazy, crazy, crazy mechanics play. This guy's Scholar +1 as well. Phoenix is really, really strong. He's low, but he's strong. We end up killing the Jax, or we end up killing the rise, but can Jax carry? He can. I mean, that was 1,000,000% a charm diff and 1,000,000% a positioning diff. That actually is crazy, because if Phoenix lives there, I mean, that has so many more implications for the rest of the game. One off Hecarim 3, so we just send it down for Hecarim 3. Now finally Hecarim 3, and one off Caston 3 as well, so that can be the other holder of our future Gwynsus. But I'm just blown away by that really, really mechanical TFT play. That was TFT mechanics. Like that was beautiful from Wasian. So good fight win. He's thinking about selling this Ash here because we're now level 7. One off Cassidon. We're at this point just looking to push levels probably and get in, I mean, eventually 7 Multistriker, though that's quite far off unless we pick up a Camille. But hey, we'll see. Yep, just taking highest cost here. This is also a Xerath that can go onto our board as another Arcana unit, which is pretty solid. So yeah, looks good. And I guess the question at this point does become, like, are you more interested in oh, and he's even gonna sell the TK, play the Xerath here. It makes sense, right? And I assume these Gwynsus are going to go into Cassidon. Yep, he does need to use the remover, though, so that he has the Ash if he wants to play 7 Multistriker down the line. I mean, Xerath gives you access to the Ascendant charms, right? So, you know, if he can pick up one of those really, really strong ones, get another support anvil or something like that, he'll certainly take it. Now, though, we're seeing the downside to spending all this time rolling for everything is that, you know, we're certainly a little bit behind the tempo of the lobby, just because we haven't, you know, a bunch of 3 stars, you know, like that mage player is really, really scary. We really need to be able to push levels, ideally find a cast in 3 as well, though it's really awkward, actually. Like, what do you do here between rolling or digging for this cast in 3? And fighting the Veigar player, this is actually really good because our Jax ends up tanking for the Hecarim, but the downside is we just don't have the damage to get through this Vex, so we end up losing that. The upside, though, everybody's dying here. We are 37 HP because we played a beautiful win streak. So worst case, this game's a top 2. It looks pretty hard to top 1 just based on how these fights are going right now. He's thinking about burning a remover here. It would be on Cassidon, right? Is the idea if you hit a Callista 2, you'd certainly prefer to itemize a Jax 3 over a Cassidon 2. So yeah, this makes sense. And obviously the item doesn't matter at all. We have a good amount of gold here, so it looks like, I imagine it's just gonna be the level up and roll. And then hopefully, there's a lot of stuff that you hopefully find. Hopefully you find the Cassidon. Hopefully you high roll like a Camille on 8. Oh my God, speaking of which, there's the Camille on 8, so now he can just swap in 7 Multistriker, and that's a big spike to the board. And also, beautiful remover here. He says Jax 3 is no match for Callista 3, or Jax 3, no match for Callista 2 in this spot. Also, we have enough frontline. The Callista is going to be raw DPS, so we pick this up. We are fighting. This is a really, really close fight versus the Hunter board. He wins, and it's a double kill, actually. The other player goes down as well, so it is a dub for Wasian. What a finish, actually. It really, really looked hard for him to win that, but he just barely ekes it out versus this Hunter player. I will say, I was watching this from a different POV. I was watching it from Stellar Minhy's POV, and Stellar Minhy opted to take a Bloodthirster here instead of an Infinity Edge. This is another, just to show you how small these things can be in TFT games. Late game, the healing on Olaf doesn't matter that much. You really just want him to do as much damage as possible, especially versus this Multistrikers board. And it was said, I was watching the Frodan co-stream, it was said by Dish Soap that if he had picked up IE here, he would have had more damage here, He probably would have killed that, he would have necessarily killed that Cassidon earlier, and this fight actually could have been an IE diff with how close this fight was, right? Like, look how close this fight is. So tiny little things there in TFT. It's always so crazy. Tiny little things. I mean, I was blown away by the Jax thing that Wasian did earlier, but, you know, tiny things like this as well. Really, really insane. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. Check out my Twitch. All my other links down below. Thank you guys again, as always, for watching.